In the 26th of February, 1993, there was a huge bombing incident in the basement of the World Trade Center, in which was the tallest building not just in New York City, but in the United States. There were 6 people died from explosion, more than 1,000 injured, and resulted in billions of dollars in damages. While the World Trade Center failed to fall down from the bombing, the culprit has bigger ambitions, and if successful, will go down in history. Year 1994, the year when Nelson Mandela became the president of South Africa. United States successfully hosted the 1994 World Cup in which Brazil winning the tournament. Armando Forlani has bigger plans, and he is cooking something that people will be angry. In the same year, Forlani had a plenty of plans that disturbed across Asia. In March, Forlani masterminded the failed bombing plot to the Israeli embassy in Bangkok, and in June, he plotted the bombing successfully, this time in Mashhad, Iran. Soon after, he stayed for months in the Philippines. His stay in the country includes training Abu Sayyaf personnel in making bombs, which funded by terrorist group Al Qaeda, whose the leader. Later that year, he rented on an apartment in Manila, and to enjoy his experience, he went to karaoke bars and fast food chain. On the 11th of December, 1994, Forlani booked a ticket to the Philippine Airlines Flight 434, and the aircraft used was the Boeing 747-238B. The flight bounded from Manila to Tokyo with a stopover via Cebu. Forlani has all the ingredients to detonate a bomb and assembled on the aircraft's bathroom. Number 1. Casio Digital Watch. It activates as a microbomb. Number 2. Liquid nitroglycerin, a pale yellow liquid and crystalline solid, which is highly flammable and potent to explosion, and disguise it as a contact lens fluid. And number 3. Metal rod. Those are hidden under Forlani's shoes and used as a detonator. After he assembled, he set to 4 hours as time left to explode, and planted it below to the C-26K. While the flight had a stopover from Cebu, Forlani left the flight, but more passengers came in, not knowing that the bomb will explode. When they are bound to pass the Okinawa Island, the bomb exploded, resulted on 1 casualty and 10 were injured. Haruki Ikigami was the person who sat at the 26K seat, in which he didn't survive minutes after the explosion. Not only the passengers and staffs were affected, the pilot control booth has been malfunctioned that makes their flight complicated. Fortunately, The flight was not far from Okinawa Island, and pilot Captain Eduardo Reyes, alongside with Flight Officer Jamie Herrera and Flight Engineer Dexter Comendador, landed on an American base in the same island. Except Ikigami, all of them are survived, largely due to the Boeing 747-338B was slightly modified from the Scandinavian Airlines, and the C-26K is two seats front of the jet engine, making it farther to expose from bombing. And in the evening of 6th of January 1995, Forlani, alongside with Abdul Murad, are preparing to mass produce the bombs for this month, and suddenly, the smoke from chemicals spread all over the Doña Josefa apartments in Manila. Two of them went escape when police came, but Murad made a mistake by going back to the apartment, resulted in getting arrested by local authorities, and Forlan immediately fled back to Pakistan and hidden for a while. But when almost he left to his apartment and about to leave from Pakistan for a newly planned attack, Forlani was caught by Pakistani authorities alongside with Central Intelligence Agency. Wait, did I say Armaldo Forlani all the time? It's just his alias to fake his name, and his real name is Ramzi Youssef, who was known as one of the most wanted persons of the world. And Youssef had the reason why he stayed in Manila. Bojinka. It came from the Serbo-Croatian language, which means a loud explosion. It was found on Yusef's laptop alongside with his forged passports, books, bombing equipments, and even Catholic robes. Inside the details of his laptop, it revealed the shocking details that the Flight 434 was just a bombing test. There are three phases that will occur from January 15 to 22. Phase 1. Assassinate Paul John Paul II. It's no stranger that Philippines is a Catholic devout nation, and coinciding the Pope's Manila visit was the 1995 World Youth Day, in which held on 10th to 15th of January of the same year. The plan was to assassinate the Pope, and one terrorist will pretend and act as a Pope, saying that the Pope John Paul is still safe and alive. After that, it will announce that Abu Sayyaf group are the culprits for this attack. Phase 2. Bomb the US planes on mid-air. After the Phase 1, terrorists will scatter to the airports on Manila, Tokyo, Singapore, Taipei, Seoul, and Hong Kong, to US airports on Honolulu, Los Angeles, San Francisco, Chicago, and New York, and will use 11 planes that are US airliners from January 21 to 22 to detonate bombs and will explode on the vast seas of Pacific, and limiting its chances to recover the debris. In Phase 3, bomb the CIA headquarters. One or more terrorists will fly on a Cessna plane with loads of explosives inside, and the plane intended to land on CIA headquarters in Langley, Virginia. Imagine this. From one official casualty of Flight 434 test bomb, if Bojinka plot was successful, it will reach up to 4,000 casualties, making it the biggest terrorist act in history. But it will not happen, as Ramzi Youssef is convicted and served a life sentence and additional 240 years in prison. What if Bajin Kaplat was really successful? In my point of view, There are countless things to say. This act will involve a lot of countries, if not all, on implementing the anti-terrorism schemes on nearly all of the areas, especially the airports. And may the world will never be the same, from aviation industry, international cooperation against terrorism, pop culture, and even the thinking and perception of the people. I learned that too much hate always leads to destruction, regardless of race, religion, and status in your life. In the end of the day, the more hatred could become, the consequences awaits. We all thought that culprits would remain silent until the co-leader of the plot named Khalid Sheikh Mohammed inspired to do a bigger and more radical plot.